We're quite lucky. We have holiday parks and resorts across the most iconic destinations in WA.
We've got a World Heritage listed marine park on the doorstep. It's beautiful, it's rugged.
And a lot of people today, they've discovered WA. They're now in their front yard, they have this caravan and asset sitting there. So it's a reminder every day when they go out, we must use that.
I'm a mum, so I want to ensure that when I'm holidaying, I don't want to have to think about too much.
If you haven't holidayed in Western Australia, and if you still think Bali's the place to go, just give us a go and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
If we had to choose one holiday park, which ones would we choose? Welcome to RAC's Horizons podcast. I'm Mike Bartlett. For generations, the Caravan Park has been a holiday staple for West Australians. Long road trips, sandy feets, kids on bikes, and that unique sense of freedom that you get where their facilities are, at times, charmingly minimal. We're discussing today the way that the Caravan Park has evolved into the holiday park and what that means for WA tourism. For this, I'm joined by Dean Massey, Mark Weller, and Dawes Thompson. Now, we'll get on to the difference between a holiday park and a caravan park, if there is one, but I suspect that most West Australians do have some strong, perhaps nostalgic connection with Caravan Park. I think caravan parks, I suspect we've spent quite a bit of time in them. Thinking about your own childhood holidays, each of you, what role did caravan parks play in those? Dawes, would you like to start?
Yeah, fun.
Fun?
So much fun. I actually didn't holiday too much at a holiday park, but somewhat similar accommodation growing up. But I always used to remember just being free.
Free.
And I think it's what holiday parks do. They offer that freedom of just exploring without the fuss or the hassle. And I think that's brilliant for most families. And,
Absolutely.
That's what I remember the most, just the playgrounds or spending time with mum and dad and the chess games and all that stuff I think is just so great, and I think holiday parks offer that for so many.
I feel the same. I think I have very clear memories of just being set free in those parks when I was a kid, and as a parent I'm aware that you can give the kids slightly longer leashes than you might usually. Dean, what are your memories of caravan parks?
Earlier days, probably going down to Mandurah, I think, down to the Peninsula Caravan Park, and the family used to go down there, a group of families. And
it's still there, isn't it?
No, the Peninsula's actually removed.
That one's
now.
gone.
It's been developed. It's gone.
Okay.
But, it's important to hang on to these caravan park sites because they can be developed. But I just remember the earlier days, and it was catching crabs or prawns, and groups of families coming together, and the ability to, I wasn't old enough to have a beer, but the family was having a beer and enjoying and sharing stories and having a good feed of crabs.
Right. Just a relaxed vibe.
Very relaxed, yeah. A summer holiday break.
Mark, what about yourself? Did you have much experience of caravan parks?
No, I didn't. Ironically, my father was a Commodore of a yacht club. So on the actual yacht club, we had a caravan. So I spent much of my youth stuck in a caravan every weekend with my parents. So my opportunity was the first opportunity I got to move into a tent or indeed stay on our boat overnight. That was my opportunity. So for me, caravanning never really resonated with me when I was young. But obviously over the years we've gone camping and things like that. So it's probably about that freedom and new experiences and new properties has been exciting on the trips.
The appeal of the caravan park for most West Australians, I suspect, is not just nostalgia. There's more to it than that. There's a sense that caravanning and camping is kind of hardwired into us. It's an important part of the WA psyche, I think. Why do you think that is, Dawes? What is it about West Australians that means we love going to these places?
Well, hearing from our members is easy, right? It's easy to hop in your car or pack your car, hop in your car and head down south, right? So I think it offers that flexibility, accessibility as well. So whether you're wanting to caravan, whether you're wanting to stay in a villa or a chalet, there are those options available for so many. So I think it's just the ease of having to plan a holiday without the fuss of having to book flights or worry about security checkpoints and things like that. So I think it offers that flexibility, that ease, and that ability just to connect. And And people want that. Members want that. Members want to connect with their family and friends, and they want to disconnect to connect. And in a world of today, kids are on their devices, and
Absolutely, yeah.
the world is so busy, life is so busy. So holiday parks offer that space to relax. That the nature that you're surrounded by is just bliss. And I think that open space and that ability to connect, the communal areas that we provide or holiday parks provide, and to interact, and it does that for so many people. So I think it's just the ease, the flexibility, the accessibility, and I think it's just, again, I think we talked about freedom. So freedom is just the freedom of being able to explore, and the kids to connect with other kids, and even the grey nomads, and connecting with like-minded and travellers who are on similar journeys. And
Well, that is a big part of it, isn't it? That I think that getting kids off their devices into the outdoors is a big thing for parents.
Yep.
But the Caravan Park is a rare chance to actually meet with all kinds of other people, whether they are grey nomads or other families or just different types of West Australians or people from further afield. I mean, Dean, do you feel that's part of the appeal as well?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And the feedback we've had from the members is they want to socialise. They want the ability to retreat back to their site or their cabin or whatever the case. But a lot of the time it's coming together. That's why with our redevelopments and improvements we've made on the properties, we've made larger camp kitchens, great little dining areas, some children activities rooms, outdoor movie cinemas. You can enjoy the outdoors as well. So I think a lot of those, and even like our swimming pools, the little swimming pool that's now developed to a resort-style pool with a little children's wading pool to the side to give an option to be safe. And that's really some of the improvements. There's a lot of improvements we've made, but that's just some of them. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to hear you mention the kitchen, because I did stay at the Margaret River one in January, and the kitchen's just been redone there.
That's
It's
right,
much
yeah.
larger. And there were a number of occasions where people who had not met before were busy chatting while they were cooking, having often quite in-depth personal conversations, which I eavesdropped on. So it is nice to have that space, isn't it? The other thing that I've wondered about is, and Mark, maybe you can talk to this, is there something about the geography of WA that means places like caravan parks, holiday parks are more important? We have a pretty strong road trip culture here, don't we?
Yeah, indeed. And I think the great thing about our parks is, regardless of what season it is, you can be up north when it's a lot warmer. If you prefer cooler climate, there are opportunities down south at some of our parks. So I think we kind of provide not only different experiences in the park, but we also provide seasonality that's different depending on what you like. And some people like cold climates. I'm one of those who not in that camp, but certainly it's cooler down south, it's green, and versus if you're at, say, Monkey Mile or somewhere north, it's completely different. So I think that adds to that sort of the overall experience.
we're quite lucky. We have holiday parks and resorts across the most iconic destinations in WA. So, we've done that strategically. So we know that when people are travelling to those locations, they get to experience the destination. And then at the end, once they've explored, they have a place to stay and relax and unwind and connect with their families. And so I think it's the best of both worlds.
How do you balance choosing an iconic spot with the accessibility of that spot and how easy it is for people to actually get there?
As we touched on, a lot of the travelling within WA with the caravan or just in the vehicle, it's a lot of road base. Mm-hmm. So the accessibility there's two ways. There's one to get there in some of our remote areas, and then the other side of accessibility is probably within the parks improvements we've made. A lot of the ageing population and accessible rooms for our elderly and for disabled. We've done a lot of focus on that, so we've made it accessible for everybody.
I mean, there must be some really beautiful spots that you could put a caravan park at, but you have to consider the drive there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's not just the drive. I think it's infrastructure as well.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that there's, water, electricity, all those type of things, because our parks have been predominantly structured around caravans, resorts type living, cabins, that sort of thing. So we haven't gone for, really far remote setups where you're off in a tent, you're off the grid, that sort of thing. And to Dean's point, it is about how you get there. It might be by aeroplane, depending on where it is. But equally, it's very accessible by car or by coach, because a lot of our resorts are actually visited via coach tours as well.
Might pause and just discuss the difference between the term holiday park and caravan park. And I've been saying caravan park because I'm thinking nostalgically, but the term holiday park is now more common now. Is there much of a difference between a holiday park and a caravan park?
Not really. I think it depends on how people perceive it, and I think caravan parks is a traditional term that people use when they describe a holiday park. It's almost the same thing. Maybe caravan parks back in the day were very much a basic park with basic amenities and one style of accommodation, whereas now holiday parks are very much a broad mix of accommodation. We're able to cater for those people who want to be in a caravan, who want to pitch a tent, and who want self-contained accommodation with all the bells and whistles. So I think now caravan parks, or holiday parks rather, they offer such a broad range of accommodation and facilities to cater to different types of budgets, and I think that's why they're so popular. Travelling domestically and internationally is expensive, right? So holiday parks offer that. And affordable is a loose term because affordability is different depending on who you talk to, right? But for me, having a budget-friendly or a wallet-friendly option, depending on who you are, I think holiday parks offer that variety to cater to the needs of different types of travellers.
Okay. Is there a sense, though, and you talked about the fact that travel has become more expensive,
yes, yep.
that as travel becomes more expensive, that even the humble holiday park or caravan park needs to offer a little bit more
100%.
to meet expectations of
Yes.
travellers?
I think we've seen this with retail shopping centres, and retail shopping centres have evolved so much over the years, and I think COVID did that the most, where people's needs have changed, and people want a one-stop shop, people want experiences, people want ease of having to, do a shop and then perhaps go and sit down and have a bite to eat and go to the cinema, whatever it might be. And I think it's no different to holiday parks, and in a sense that they have evolved over time because people's needs have changed. They want experiences, and they want. I'm a mum, so I want to ensure that when I'm holidaying, I don't want to have to think about too much, and I want to be able to unpack, unwind, and make sure the kids are looked after. In a sense of,
you want a holiday too.
I want a holiday too,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So the kids are occupied with things to do, whilst we all get to relax and spend time together. So I think that variety in that experience is very much a preference for so many people.
No, I agree. It'd be nice to think about how much they have changed, though. And Dean, perhaps you can talk about this. What were some of the earliest caravan parks in WA? What were they like?
As we've looked around at the state for purchasing and for ideal locations that our members have identified, you'll find that a lot of the regional caravan parks sort of started evolving around the 50s and 60s. And as Dawes said, they were sort of smaller sites, one choice for cabin, very simple, but also, but in some good locations. So when we've purchased a lot of these properties, we've looked at it, we've done our research with our members, we've run it for about 12 months, got a bit of feel, what are the improvements you want, and that's when we've gone about that. So the little basic swimming pool everyone was falling over each other is now a larger swimming pool, and you've got that option, and people's more sun smart these days, so you've got some shade, but not only that, they want the comfort, so the swimming pools are now heated.
Right.
So I think the holiday park is a term for modernising rather than the traditional caravan park. But the sites are larger now, and people want security. They want safe. As you're touching on the younger families, they want to be able to have a holiday, relax, and feel that their children are in a good, safe environment. So that's a priority for us. So people are safe and secure at the properties and can relax. And it's a perfect base to go and explore. We've managed to. We've got some properties in some iconic locations. We call them they're 5-star locations. So the holiday park and the cabins or tenting, whatever be the case, that's a base to go out and explore. And you can come back, and that's where people share their stories and experiences. And when in those conversations, they didn't realise that you can go to this beach or you can go to this park or that location. So sharing those stories enables people to realise, discover more in those regions too. So it's good.
What we've seen, Mike, is a lot of multi-generational families travelling together.
Right.
So I'm talking about 3 generations of family. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but but handy for those parents who want a hand
Additional
with the kids.
babysitters.
Yeah, correct. And so we do have those on-site clustering of accommodation available for those people as well, right? So Martina and her family might not want to stay in a cabin; they might want to bring their caravan or pitch a tent. And so that variety of accommodation available on site and offers that for so many of those families or people travelling together in groups. And so it's not just a one-stop type of accommodation where everyone has to sort of bunk in together or stay in the same style of accommodation. It is varied, and I think that's the attraction of holiday parks.
Okay. Dean, you talked about some of the ways that these parks have changed, the new facilities. That my memory of caravan parks when I was younger is that I have memories of red dirt and sun, no shade, and certainly no heated pool. But it's not just about those improved facilities, is it? Is it a sense of just trying to create an experience in the way that shopping centres now try to become a not just a destination, but a place you go for the complete retail experience? I mean, what is more important to people? Is it the facilities or the time that they will have there, the experience they will have going there?
I think everyone's a bit different, a mix for different families. You can have the travellers that are just a couple want to escape and do their own little things, withdraw, and then you've got the families that travel in groups and they want to have that experience. And as I said, a base to get out and explore. But some families really want to be together. We've just recently redeveloped the Esperance holiday park. And what we've done is repurpose one of the older buildings, the heritage buildings down there. So that's the Azure Lodge. So 4 families can come together under one roof, and then you've got a communal dining and barbecue area and such like that. So some people like that, and some people like just have the solitude.
Okay. Don't want to be stuck under one roof with the entire family.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, I can understand that. Do you think there are different expectations from people in terms of, and I think perhaps this is a question for you, and we touched on this, parents being concerned about screen time, wanting their kids to get off devices, but are they feeling perhaps more than when I was a child that kids need to be entertained? So we are seeing things like film nights and games, and are parents coming to these places thinking, well, someone else can entertain the kids while I sit down and read a book?
Yeah, somewhat. And when we survey our members and get to know their motivations around travel, the big thing really is connection.
Okay.
Spending time together, and the second one is sightseeing and experiences. And so I think as a parent myself, I can tell you that I do want the kids to be entertained, and I do want them to be off their devices and have those experiences amongst nature. So I think it's a bit of both. I think I think it's important that we have a mix of things that kids can do. And of course, they're going to they'd want their device, but I think we encourage them to be out and experiencing the park, experiencing the regions, and we're so lucky that we actually have that. We have nature as our, nature's playground in the palm of our hands, right?
Yeah,
so we're very, very lucky. So it's a bit of both, I think.
I'm just conscious that I think parents get anxious about removing the devices as much as the kids do, and the parents go, well, what are the kids going to do? They're going to be bugging me. They're going to be at a loose end, whereas perhaps we were set free a little more when I was a child. But one of the things I love going to these places, sometimes you see the visitor books, and I've read those visitor books often, and you see the kids, there'll be comments from teenagers going, I thought this was going to be awful. I really didn't want to come here. There was no signal. I couldn't use my device. It was going to be awful. I've had a really nice time. We played board games or we went for walks, and it's giving children a chance to surprise themselves, I suppose, in some ways, isn't it?
Correct. And we do have a broad school holiday program. So kids are occupied during the school holidays. But
Yep.
even outside the school holidays, you don't have to rely on that. And, I feel like holiday parks are sometimes a destination in themselves. And so I'm thinking about Monkey Mire and Carry Valley. You don't have to do a lot outside the park or the property to have experiences. And, you've got your mini golf, you've got your BMX tracks, and, your SUPs, your, bike carts, whatever you want to call them. There's so much to do, even outside the school holiday period, and for people or for families to have that option for the kids to go out and actually explore and have fun.
Yeah.
In a safe environment, of course. And,
No,
in
absolutely.
a safe environment.
Yeah.
And I think traditionally it was the school holidays where the children arrive and the 2-week stay or whatever the case. But ever since COVID, with homeschooling and such like that, we're finding now children are attending our properties all year round. People are not frightened of taking their kids out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And, so those children's activities we really focus on, we've now had to expand that.
Is that right?
Yeah, because there's just the demand for kids on the property and that side of thing. So we're lucky where we've developed and have those locations. You've got a base to go and explore. But the good thing about a holiday park, you're not stuck in those 4 walls. You've got the ability to go out, and we have from jumping pillows to the pool and the nice playgrounds and all those little activities. And but the school holiday program, we pride ourselves on what we do there. It's really good feedback from. We bring in climbing walls, and we'll bring in other activities and sometimes some food vans and coffee vans and things like this, and just so people have a really relaxed time.
Now, Dean, you mentioned COVID there, and certainly since COVID, we've seen a huge surge in intrastate tourism, travelling within the state. Is that affecting the way that we are planning for holiday parks? Perhaps this is a question for you, Mark. Is that awareness that there is perhaps more intrastate within the state travel happening, is that affecting the way that we're thinking about planning out holiday parks?
Well, I think ironically COVID was actually a great benefit for us, because obviously people not being able to leave the state actually visited our parks. So people who typically didn't holiday in Western Australia but always chose to travel to Bali would now couldn't do that, and so they got a taste of our parks, and I think that certainly created a repeat business for us. So it's important that our members and guests in Western Australia can visit our parks, but equally we know that there are people from interstate that are travelling around Australia caravanning, and we equally welcome them. And I think the great thing about that is it provides seasonality as well. So when our state is wet and cold in the bottom and there's people coming over from east, they're travelling through our various parks, and that augments it. And we think our usage of our park is about 50% our members and 50% non-members, so guests that are visiting our parks as well. So they're there for not only our members, but they also cater for more broadly the West Australian population and anyone travelling in from over east as well.
That's great. As you said, of course, COVID meant that we were all trapped in the state. There was nowhere else to go. Are people still travelling within WA to the same extent?
Yes, I think they are. We certainly haven't seen any sort of major drop-off since COVID, so we've seen that consistency. And I think that also speaks to the investments we've made in the parks to ensure that the quality is there, because where we have bought parks and redeveloped them, we've spent a lot of money on upgrading them. So I think people have also come to accept a certain standard at our parks, and we work hard to maintain that so that ultimately the experience is consistent. You know what you're coming to, you know what quality is there, and I think that has certainly maintained occupancy. And then the park teams absolutely love doing what they're doing. So we measure member satisfaction or guest satisfaction through the NPS score, and there's a lot of focus on making sure we do our best in delivering a great service and a great experience, because sometimes you've only got one opportunity to do that, because it could be the first visit to the park, you don't get it right, you never see them again. But that certainly, I think we're getting that right, because we can see that through the repeat business we're getting.
Jules, do you think that post-COVID we've seen more people buying caravans, more people being interested in camping? Dean, you're nodding.
Yes, absolutely.
That's your experience?
When COVID came, the demand, you speak to a lot of the caravan operators, and a lot of manufacturers actually rose.
Yeah.
And through that period, the demand was on there, and the demand on four-wheel drives to tow these larger vehicles these days. So, and a lot of people today, they've discovered WA. they now in their front yard they have this caravan and asset sitting there. So it's a reminder every day when they go out, we must use that. And so that's why I think COVID is really good for the tourism industry, particularly in WA. And as Mark said, it's continued to grow. We thought it might decline, but it's actually continued to grow.
That's great. What are the particular hotspots for holiday parks in WA? Where are people most likely to want to visit?
It's a mix, really,
Depends what
and that's what we've brought. So we've got from Esperance down south, fantastic beaches in that southern location through to Margaret River, Bustleton, Carry Valley, so you can enjoy the forest and the lake and that area, right through to we've got Cervantes, which was our first property that we purchased, and then you've got Monkey Mia, Ningaloo Reef Resort, and Exmouth, right through to Broome. So it's a mix, and we have different demographics that travel now, and as Mark said, 50% of our visitors. So we have 250,000 people stay at our properties a year. So half of those are members, and then you've got a mix that are not, and then you've got also got interstate and very popular in the international market because the international traveller is more experienced now rather than group travel and such. They're free independent traveller. So the parks are a perfect destination because we're an iconic destination, so that's where they visit. So, and that works well for us. Touch on the question, those summer months where it's really warm and a lot of people don't migrate north, the Europeans, they love it. So,
is that right?
Yeah, they love the heat. And
they're
go
after that
up
extreme experience.
Yeah, and they usually have longer holiday periods too, so they'll stay longer and explore the northwest and stuff like that, but not excluding the southwest as well.
How do the needs of families with young kids differ from the grey nomads, for example, or couples or younger travellers? I mean, within a holiday park, it can be difficult to balance all those those needs.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for families, definitely it is obviously the accommodation options available, the facilities. I don't think it's different for grey nomads though in terms of the facilities. People, most people do want to have good quality accommodation and good quality facilities. So I think from that perspective, it's almost similar. It just depends on what they're after. I would discourage those people who don't want to be around kids to not travel during the school holidays.
Right, yes.
Right,
sensible.
because it is busy. There's obviously lots of kids on site. But that's the beauty of it, I think, and we want people to come during midweek. We want people to come during those off-peak periods because it is pleasant because you don't have that many people on site, right? So I think we're quite good like that. We've catered to a broad demographic of members, and I talk about accessibility, and that's what I mean. It's accessible for so many in terms of what people are after. So I think depending on what people want, and I think holiday parks in general offer that.
Thinking about those different needs, having stayed myself in a caravan park over New Year's Eve on a number of occasions, how do you manage the competing desires perhaps within different groups? Obviously there's the younger people who are wanting to stay up to midnight on New Year's Eve, the parents who are quite happy to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I mean, there's sometimes a tension within a caravan park. How do you make sure that everyone is comfortable and happy?
You touched on midnight. New Year's Eve, probably that's the exception. But outside that, usually it's about a 10 o'clock is the sort of bit of a curfew is a bit of a harsh word, but that's the understanding amongst the tourism industry, not just on our properties, that you can have a drink or be social, or the kids can go out and play till later, depending on the weather. But really people do have a respect for each other. If they're sitting at these caravan parks, they know that the neighbour is only a sheet of canvas or such a way. So we find that people are quite respectful. We have rules and conditions. We make sure that we're looking after our members and the children, have a safe environment. But you've got to look after people's needs and we find a lot of people don't stay up too late because there's so much to go out and see. Like at Monkey Mia, people are in bed by 8, 9 o'clock because
They're
they want to get up
exhausted.
early.
Oh, it's one of the things I love about going to caravan parks with the kids. We go to bed at the same time as the kids. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
but they want to get up early to explore.
Yeah.
They want to go down and see the dolphins and interact with the
Absolutely.
dolphins
Yeah.
or a lot of the tours. We work very closely with the tour operators, and we're lucky in this state. We've got some quality tour operators that get out and explore the ocean or the land or those experiences. So, and they usually an early start, so people go to bed early, refreshed, and at the end of the day, they sort of come back and collapse.
How important is comfort? I know we've talked about raised expectations from people, but glamping is a big thing now. And one of the things I love about that Margaret River holiday park that I mentioned is that you can stay in these fantastic safari tents, which have a little bar fridge, so you get to camp without having to
Rough
put the
it.
tent up.
Yeah.
And more, the difficult part actually now is getting the tent back in the bag. So that whole occasionally horrific experience of camping is gone, and the tent's just waiting for you. Some places have private bathrooms. The beds are certainly much more comfortable than they were when I was initially using caravan parks or holiday parks. Is that important, that glamping, so people can still see themselves as camping, enjoy camping, but not sacrifice comfort?
Certainly a popular option for many people, particularly myself. I would prefer to have everything set up for me.
Absolutely, yes.
Certainly. I think so. I think it's important. I mean, when we talk to members, because we pride ourselves on that. We want to hear more about what members want and need. And so when we do ask the questions around what you want and what you want us to invest into, it is the quality. Now, we're not a cheap accommodation. We're not labelled as cheap, right? So we're not a cheap product, if you like. We're a quality product, and I think members expect that. And Mark, you mentioned in terms of the standard that we offer. We want to make sure that there's obviously that consistent standard, depending on whether you're purchasing a insurance policy or a, roadside assistance, whatever that might be. We want to make sure that's consistent across everything that we offer members, and that quality accommodation, quality facilities is certainly something that we pride ourselves on when we are thinking about developing or acquiring properties. And we do have state-of-the-art camp kitchens. We have family rooms in our evolution blocks to cater for the needs of mums and dads with young kids. And people expect that, I think, from us, and hearing the feedback from members. And so it's important that we, have a certain standard and then we carry that through, particularly into the future.
There is obviously that standard there, but Dean, how do you balance the glamour, the ease, the comfort with the being outdoors? To me, it seems the safari tents are a very good example of that. It's that in between, isn't it?
Yeah, there is, and there's a market for that. You were just mentioning the Margaret River Nature Park. We've just recently replaced all those tents. So the option was, do we go to a cabin, or what do we do? But the feedback was they loved the tents, but they didn't want them on the ground. They didn't want this. So we've put the glamping tents in there. We've risen them, so it's off the damp floors because it's quite wet down there. But also the material that we've used, you can actually have some heating within the tents. And as you said, it used to be just a basic tent. Now we've got a few creature comforts. You've got the fridge.
There's the double bed with the electric blanket, which
the electric blanket,
very handy winter.
And
yes,
quite comfort, and even down to the way we do the lighting within the cabin and around that forest, and the way we illuminate that, and you still get a real connection with the nature park. As you know, those tents face out, so you can actually be in this tent in this caravan park. You actually feel like you're on your own.
You do. Yeah.
So it's the way you design it and the feedback, and we've just designed that about the feel and the feedback, and we continually do those surveys and get those feedback and from our guests. So when we do plan to do improvements or capital improvements or development, we're designing around that feedback, and that's why, as Mark touched on, our NPS is continuing to grow. We've got some good results, and our thought is if our NPS is well, that's looking after our business. And sustainability of the business. In
terms of that sustainability, it'd be nice to talk a bit about the growth of RSC's involvement with holiday parks. Let's start off with why the RSC became involved in holiday parks in the first place? They're obviously a trusted name in motoring and travel. What was it about this space that was appealing to the RAC?
Well, I think if we go back to 1905 when the RAC was established really to advocate for early car owners, and over the years we've added insurance into that mix, and ironically this year as well, roadside turns 100 years old. So we've consistently added products and services that our members have needed, and it's probably been in that peace of mind space. But I think, when we looked at the Parks and Resorts strategy well over 10 years ago now, an opportunity presented to actually address opportunity for members to travel, and our members told us, this could be an area you could play in. And so our research helped us then structure the strategy, and it also helped us then start acquiring parks around Western Australia. And I think what the great thing about the Parks and Resorts is it actually makes membership tangible. So, you're not paying a premium for something that may or may not happen, be it a breakdown, be it a car accident. You're actually having access to, as we've discussed today, beautiful parks in beautiful locations. It's tangible, and it is there to make that membership tangible. But also, there's discounts for members, benefits, all the benefits we spoke about today. So it does bring that membership kind of back to home as well. And it's just again one of the additional products and services that we continue to expand in our portfolio, and we'll continue to do so depending on what our members are asking for. That's what we're about. And with over 1.3 million members, we want to continue to do that into the future, because it's really about investing not only in our members but back into Western Australia as well. So it's been a strategy, I think, that's really worked well for us. And indeed, we've just revised our strategy for the next 10 years, and we're probably going to be doing more of what we've been doing over the last 10 years. So it's really an exciting business to be in as well.
Okay. In terms of RAC's commitment to tourism, to holiday parks, how significant is that commitment, and what does it look like?
Well, it is very significant. I think we've deployed significant capital into that over the years. I think we've touched on today the fact that our parks are all in areas where they are on the beach. They, in areas where there's a lot of maintenance. So we spend significant investments every year in ensuring that we keep those parks safe, maintained well, so that the experience is good. We also don't want our members being injured in the park. So a lot of work goes into maintaining the parks. And then we're also constantly on the outlook for new opportunities. And we've just more recently purchased a property down in Albany, which has been our members have been saying for years, we need something down there. We've now identified a prospect, and we're in the process of acquiring that, and we'll redevelop that in time, and that will become another integral part of our portfolio. And we'll continue to do that around Western Australia where there are appropriate opportunities, where our members want to go to, and where we think it's the right thing to do.
Okay. And how do you feel the strategy for RAC around holiday parks might have evolved over time? Where has it moved from the initial sort of interest to where we're heading now?
Well, I think one of the things we'd initially said in our early strategy thoughts were we were looking for parks and resorts within a 1 to 2 hour drive from Perth. And now we've got resorts that are an 8-9 hour drive, or Esperance could be a flight to the resort. But that hasn't stopped our members travelling. So you've got the option to drive, you've got the option to fly. And if we look at Coral Bay, we're making a major investment in Coral Bay, which is effectively taking what was around a 30-unit property that really run down, hadn't been looked after for many years. We're redeveloping that up into a 4-star resort that's going to have a range of accommodation, iconic views over Coral Bay, and just a different type of experience that can appeal to a range of members, people, guests, and as Dean touched on, we think international guests as well. So I think we've got a really good mix of properties and a whole range that can really cut across the diversity that we have in our member base.
Why was Ningaloo such an important location for the RAC to invest in, Mark?
Well, I think the opportunity came up to acquire the actual park that we did originally acquire, the 30-room park. And if you think again, as we've said earlier, around the iconic destinations, Coral Bay is one of those. We've got a World Heritage listed marine park on the doorstep. It's beautiful. It's rugged. It is accessible from Learmouth Airport as well, and Exmouth, so it's fairly close from that perspective. So again, it just provides different experiences for our members, and we do think that Coral Bay is going to be a really different experience. And so again, just in terms of getting that mix of our portfolio of properties right, it was just a natural fit. It took us several years to get approvals in place, etc., to actually do the development, but that's well underway now, and we're hoping to open in mid-September of this year.
One concern with any new development, particularly in such an iconic spot, is how it will impact the environment. How does the new resort complement the existing environment rather than perhaps compete with it?
Well, I think in the actual construction of the units, we actually had the units constructed offshore when we brought them in, so that sort of reduced the workload on site per se. But we also did various things, such as a lot of the waste from scrapping the previous site was recycled, was given away to people, and indeed a lot of the waste that we're finding on the site that in the work that we're doing now, we're also having that removed, we're having it recycled. So there's been a lot of work and just not moving stuff off to the tip in the local area. We've actually recycled it, and it's been used by the Shire for roadworks, etc. So we've done a lot of work around that. And then the actual resort has also been built in a way that is it is low, so that it's not sticking up and blocking views, etc. It's also designed around accommodating cyclone and that sort of weather as well. So we've got to be conscious of that when we build as well. So that brings its own challenges. And then we'll be looking at things like solar and a range of things. And part of our strategy as we continue to roll out our box of resorts is around ensuring that we are doing our bit in terms of reducing the impact that we have on the environment. That could be the type of lights we use. We have solar panels. We design in a way that heat doesn't come into the property in a way that means we have to cool it. All those sort of considerations are taken into consideration as we're developing the properties as well.
And I suppose the other main impact for this new resort will be the impact on Coral Bay tourism. We know that the earliest caravan parks were a way for people or small towns, I should say, a way for small towns to attract tourism. How much of an impact do you see this resort having on the number of people coming to the area?
Well, look, it certainly has, as Dean said, 90 rooms, so that is up on the 30 that were there originally. I think another thing to think about is we made a significant investment in Coral Bay as well and developed a workers' village, because there's not a lot of accommodation up there. So we've actually had to build a village to accommodate the people who ultimately work in our resort. So those people will spend money in the town. Those people will, relax and holiday there as well. So, it's important that we also remember that while people are coming into a town, they will be, hiring surfboards, they will be, spending money in local shops and things like that. So it does stimulate the economy as well. And I think that helps these towns survive, especially in the off-season as well.
I mean, is it important for the RSC to work with the communities that exist in these places, such as Coral Bay?
Absolutely. So I think when we think about any of the resorts that we develop, we talk to the Shire, we talk to the Shire CEOs, we're dealing with developers, we're working with a range of tourism operators in the area to make sure, look, we're coming in, how do we partner, what can we do together? And I think that's important as well, just to show that we as I said earlier, RAC is West Australian based. We don't have operations elsewhere. We don't have shareholders sitting somewhere else on the eastern states. So we're all about investing back into WA. It is about, and what we do ultimately adds to communities as well. And then we're providing, obviously employment for people in Western Australia, which I think is important as well. And then on top of that, providing great experiences for our members. So it's a great fit overall. And
do you see the Ningaloo Reef Resort as being a model for future holiday parks, resorts in WA?
Yes and no. I think it's slightly out of our original strategy, I would say, in terms of, that sort of holiday park kind of thing. This is really going to be a 4-star resort, so you will have a different experience there. Okay. But that's not to say as we go forward, we might develop more of the Margaret River style eco resorts. What we'll do is we'll be listening to our members, understanding what are they looking for, then matching that to the regions, the destinations where tents will work, or we need self-contained accommodation because it's hot or it's windy or whatever. We'll match that and then ultimately ensure that we've got a really good mix and a really good portfolio of properties as we continue to build this business.
What sort of people want to work at these resorts? Well, who are the staff?
Well, we've got it depends. Some people it's a lifestyle they enjoy. The manager at Monkey Mire has been there over 25 years. He's still as invested today as he was when he first went up to that location. But we've got a lot of people that invested in the region, a lot of permanent staff, we've got a lot of casual staff. We're reliant on the backpacker or because of these regional areas, and because we've got iconic locations, we've got destinational. So there's no real problem in obtaining staff that want to go to these locations, and we've invested heavily into our staff accommodation facilities. So we've got great self-contained accommodation, good Wi-Fi, and great regions. So not only are they investing in the property and doing the work, they're enjoying themselves and enjoying part of Australia. And we encourage it. We have a lot of our team, they'll move through properties because we've got different locations throughout Australia, WA. Mm-hmm. They'll do a stint up at the season at Broome, and then they might move down south, down to Caravan Valley and such like that. So we encourage that, and particularly our key staff. We're very lucky on that end, and
right.
It's a call out to our staff.
I imagine it'd be quite a good way for perhaps younger people, particularly, to see the state, to move from resort to resort as staff.
Oh, absolutely. They'll, those experiences. It's the youth. We've got a lot of. It's not just backpacker internationals coming through. A lot of the youth within WA are getting out and exploring these regions and meeting other people. And as I touched on before, the tour operators. We usually have a arrangement with them, so they look after our staff as we look after their team as well. So we work closely together on that end, and that's rewarding for all of them.
And looking ahead, I mean, what is next for RSC's parks and resorts? Obviously, there's Ningaloo Reef Resort coming up. Are there more locations or experiences on the horizon?
There's a few aspects to that question. So we've got the existing iconic locations we've purchased. There's opportunity to still do development and improvement, and in a sustainable manner, as we touched on with Ningaloo Reef Resort. We work closely with those areas. You see what the carrying capacity. We know we're in fragile environments, so we will develop within at a sustainable level. And then I think we've got 10 properties now in with our original strategy. That is to continue to purchase in key locations. We're looking at locations right through north to the south that we still feel, because it's a road trip. A lot of people, there's a bit of gaps as far as when people go to these locations. Mm-hmm. So we'll look at purchasing through there, and then we're just we're just listening to our members and what they want, and sort of that there's a bit of focus on that self-contained accommodation. So we're looking at that. Okay.
And in terms of different types of accommodation, will we see more parks that might be eco-focused, little eco-villages, or just ones that have more unique accommodation, or will it be more about destination-style experiences, or a combination of all three?
I think it'd be a bit of a mix, to be honest. I think we know what works as a business, and we understand what members want. So we want to be able to cater to that and to plan around that as well. So the first property in mind is Esperance, and I think Esperance for me is the flagship. If no one has been, please go and visit Esperance, because it is amazing. And it is a flagship property because the way we built it is based on learnings from previous builds and development. So we built it in a way that caters to, again, that broad mix of people. So I see the future more like that. I see the future of parks and resorts being very much accessible, catering to the needs of different types of people, whether they want a caravan, whether they want to stay in a self-contained villa, whatever it might be, and that space and freedom. And I think the future will very much be around ensuring that quality is also there, as we talked about before. So that's how I see the future, and I feel like we've done that. That's evidence for us that when we continue to acquire or to develop, we have learnings and learnings in mind, and to ensure that we are building for the needs of our members.
Okay.
I think so. Also to add to that, because we're in regional locations, we're in iconic destinational tourism. When you're in destinational tourism, you've got really an obligation to cater for all markets. So that may be the tenter, budget form of accommodation right through to the upper end. So you cater for all markets when you're a destinational tourism, I think so. But at the same time, we can mix. Margaret River, your property that you frequent, there you're not going to overdo that. That is a bush, bike trail experience. We cater so much for school groups, weddings, functions, and such like that. But that's nature based. It's not a holiday park.
Right.
So we'll continue to do that. So if anything, we'll look at some more glamping experience. Make sure you do that.
Big on the glamping.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the other side, like with Ningaloo, you're in a 5-star location, and in Coral Bay on a north-facing beach, perfect. In town, they've got two other great properties, caravan parks. That's catered for, and our members enjoy that experience as well. So the resort that we've catered for is something that we think that's probably been missing from Coral Bay, and so that's why we've built the resort style, because there is a market for that, and our members want that experience. So that's why we develop to our members' needs.
And Mark, how do you see the holiday parks evolving over the next 10 years? We've talked about some of the ways they've changed over the last couple of decades. Where are they going from here, do you think?
Well, I think that as the team have touched on, it is really about listening to our members, making sure that the gaps that we fill in our portfolio are gaps where our members actually want to holiday, and we think we know where those gaps are, and we are considering properties. We're looking at we're talking to shires about opportunities, so we'll continue to do that. And then I think the style and the mix of accommodation, as Dean said, as being destinations, will continue to evolve that. Some of our more recent researchers has said our members are really keen on self-contained accommodation. I think, to Dor's point, I think they've been experiencing that through places like Esperance, where we've just done an additional develop on there, and the cabins and the self-contained accommodation there is just world-class. It's absolutely fantastic. So I think, caravanning is great, tenting is great, and then you stay in one of those cabins, you go, wow, this is something else. We've got a great relaxing lounge, I've got an air conditioning, I've got television, kids have got their own rooms. It starts making a lot of sense for our members, and I think what they're saying is this could be a great way to holiday. So we think that actually might be probably the cornerstone of some of our future developments, but time will tell. We'll take a considered review as we go through the properties. As we say, these are not insignificant investments we need to make, so we need to make sure that we're choosing the right place, we're spending the right amount of money, we're doing the right upgrades, we're providing the right facilities as well, and ensuring that the properties will remain successful, because this is not a business we're in for 10 years, this is a business we're in for 50, 60, 70 years. So we're certainly in for the long haul.
Well, it'd be nice to finish up with some reasons for people to head off to these holiday parks. Dors, we'll throw to you first. For someone planning their next WA road trip, why do you feel a holiday park should be at the top of their list?
I think it's in our nature or in our culture to road trip because it's easy, right? And I think we've touched on this before. So the reason why you travel to a holiday park is because it is something that is budget friendly. It's flexible. I think it caters to different types of needs depending on what you're after. We have the most iconic locations within our portfolio, and I think if you want to experience food and wine, you go down south. If you want to experience, national parks and the open roads, and I think you've got the northern aspect of that. And so I think depending on what you're after, I think we've got, WA has so much to offer. So I think, having that flexibility, that choice, and that ease, I think that's what you should be looking for. And I think holiday parks offer that for so many people.
And Dean, what advice would you give to a first-time caravanner or family who might be a bit unsure about this style of holiday?
Just plan, do your research. We've got destinational location, but there's so much to see on the way through there. So allow enough time for your trip. If people say if they're going to Monkey Mia, we'll call and see the dolphins. The dolphin's just one part of that. You've got the Francois Perrin National Park, your Shore Beach, Stromatolites, Ocean Park Centre in Denham. There's so much to see. So to me, it's about, a lot of people cut their holiday short and don't realise till they get there, there's so much more to do and regret it that they haven't booked longer. So I think it's about doing research and be smart. If you're towing the caravan and you've got the kids on board and everything, be safe. Have the right amount of water, check your vehicles, make sure insurances, your tyres, road trips. We've got a bit of advocacy here as far as the regional road toll and what happens. So a bit of safety around your planning your trip, and have a good, safe holiday, because we do want you to come home.
If we had to choose one holiday park to recommend people, one holiday park that might be your personal favourite, which ones would we choose? Dawes?
Couple, but if I have to choose one.
Just one.
Monkey Mia is my favourite. And it's my favourite because of its location. And I think having that dolphin interaction right at the front of the property, having options to dine, for example, you have the a la carte restaurant, you have the monkey bar, which is more that sort of casual dining, and it's open, it's protected, because it's on the peninsula there. So it's just a beautiful location, and I always feel so relaxed every time I'm there, and so connected to nature and the land. So that is my favourite.
Okay, Monkey Mia. Dean?
I managed the resort at Monkey Mia for about 16 years.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I raised my family there, so I'm quite partial
Quite
to
attached to that one.
I love the bay and the people within the bay, but I'm very excited about the Ningaloo Reef Resort development. It's a north-facing beach. You can just walk straight down to the property and enjoy the reef, quality tour operators. So, and that Australia's Coral Coast region, it's just got a great climate. Sort of year-round. So I think Ningaloo Reef Resort in Coral Bay,
Okay.
I'm quite partial to that.
All right, Monkey Mia, Ningaloo Reef Resort. Mark, Carry Valley? Is that your
Carry
choice?
Valley,
Sell it to us.
3.5 hours from Perth. Bit of a wine region around there, great walking trails, and the bush is just visually spectacular. The great thing about Carry Valley, fantastic restaurant overlooking the lake, and I don't think you can go wrong with Carry Valley.
And Mark, to sum up, what do you feel makes holiday parks such a powerful part of WA's tourism future?
Well, maybe if I reflect back on myself and the comments I made about a rather checkered youth in a caravan, and if you're not a caravaner, I want to encourage our members who haven't visited, for example, Carry Valley, which just happens to be my personally favourite park, but staying up in a cabin against the hill overlooking the lake in the middle of winter or the middle of summer, it is an absolute fantastic holiday and an absolute fantastic view to look out with, kookaburras sitting on the patio. It is, so if you're not a caravaner, we've still got options for you. So I think it's important just to remember, as we've said today, there's a range of accommodation affordability options, but there's also a range of types of accommodation and experiences. So I really encourage people, if you haven't holidayed in Western Australia and if you still think Bali's the place to go, just give us a go and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Mark, thank you. Dean, thank you. Dawes,
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you liked this episode, let us know and share it with a friend. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode of RAC's Horizons podcast.